Welcome to the San Diego ATD Get Good with Storyline Workshop. Glad to have you here. My name is John Morley. I'm an instructional designer and external consultant. So if I can help you on a project, I am adding my email address to the chat right now. And would like to welcome anybody from the ISBI, such as Gene. Thank you for joining us this evening, and other ATD chapters. Nobody knows everything about Storyline, especially me. So that's why we have these workshops to get together and talk shop. And this evening, we are very fortunate to have with us Kevin Jorgensen. Kevin's going to be talking about text-to-speech as well as some video, how to use Replay 360 for video. Kevin is a senior L&D manager with HCL America Incorporated, where he leads the design and development of hard and soft skills training, implements new learning technologies, and has established training standards for the entire organization. Kevin earned a master's degree in learning design and technology from San Diego State University, where he now teaches classes in instructional design and emerging technologies in education. He has been a photographer, video and television producer for entertainment news outlets such as The Hollywood Reporter TV, all of which gives him a unique perspective on the use of video production processes and technologies in instructional design. And his email address is in the chat window. So, Kevin, if you would like to enlighten us, I will stop sharing my screen and you can take us on a journey into Storyline.
Great, thank you. Thanks a lot, John. And I also included in the chat my new website, just my full name, kevinstormjorgensen.com. And so you can go there to reach me, see some of my work, but also I'll be posting events on there, more events such as this, and also open office hours. So if you want to keep in contact, go ahead and reach out to me there, and I'll be happy to help out. I'm really into maintaining connections with everybody in the industry. So feel free to reach out to me anytime, or even on LinkedIn, and we can chat there. But yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about using text-to-speech in Storyline. It is a feature that is easily done in Storyline if you have the Articulate 360 Cloud. Some of the older versions, if you're using like Storyline 3, it is not available in there. So this is really just reserved for those that are using Storyline 360. But even if you're using an older version, there are some options that we can go over on how to incorporate text-to-speech using free web-based services and artificial intelligence for creating some text-to-speech to put into your e-learning, no matter what tool you're using. So we will touch in on that. But yeah, let me share my screen here real quick. Make sure I can. Yep, looks like I can. All right, so share sound. We got to make sure we share sound on this. We're doing text-to-speech. So this
Good
is
idea.
Oh, what's that?
I said that's a very good idea.
Welcome to the Emotional Intelligence Fundamentals e-learning
turn this
course.
down. This is an e-learning course that I developed on emotional
and
intelligence, and it has text-to-speech in it generated through Storyline. And if you're familiar with Storyline, you use Storyline, you know it's very much like a slide, page-by-page style e-learning development tool. So each page has added a voiceover on it. And as you click through, it will actually on this page it does not, because it's just a how to navigate page.
Upon completion of this training, you will be able to define emotional intelligence, or EI. Describe the impact EI has on a customer's experience.
And this is all controllable in the player, of course. You can turn down the audio. If I had selected to have the seeker bar on here, I could move it back and forth on there. So, and including playing pause, and that'll stop. It's really just playing on the in the timeline. And in fact, let me bring up the Storyline project that has this. My computer's running a little slow. There we go.
How did you get here? Are we in we're in Storyline now, but how did you bring up what you were looking at previously?
Oh, that is on this is on my website. This is one of my demonstration e-learnings that's on my website. So this has been published, and I just wanted to show everyone this is what it finally is going to look like. And now we're going to go through the steps of how to create this.
Oh, this is a finished project then.
This is a finished project right here. Yeah. So this is the fully created e-learning, and every single one of these pages has text to speech on here. Almost every single page. There's a couple that don't. And including interactions. So I think there are some interactions in here on how, well, you have multiple people speaking. You'll have like one of like the one of the agents here, and then the customer, and you have different voices going, and so you can put that all in here using text to speech. So you don't have to record it yourself anymore. You can just text to speech.
Ideas and communicate smoothly.
And so we'll get in a little bit of that as well on how to put multiple different voices on here. But this project is standard storyline project, as you see here. Let me open this one up. There we go. And you'll see here, this is the audio file right here. It's located right here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is it right here. And in fact, if I click here and hit preview.
Welcome to the Emotional Intelligence Fundamentals e-learning course. This training is intended.
And now this was generated within Storyline using go to the Insert tab, Audio, and Text to Speech. So just hit Text to Speech, and it'll bring up this prompt where you can then select what voice you would like to use. You can either use you have all these different countries to choose from. You can stick with the English US. Here is different voices to choose from, and you can preview those voices prior to selecting them. So there's this preview button.
Hi,
what Matthew sounds like.
My name is Matthew. I will read any text you type here.
Let's try Sally.
Hi, my name is Sally. I will read any text you type here.
So you can choose the voiceover that would best suit your learning audience. Maybe you're making an e-learning for kids.
Hi, my name is Joey.
That one, Justin was the one. Justin.
Hi, my name is Justin. I will read any text you type here.
So you have even a child's voice that you could use as part of this, and particularly helpful if you have multiple characters, as I was mentioning earlier, that are speaking. You have maybe some type of scenario taking place. You know, an adult speaking to a child, or two adults speaking. You can use these different voices to differentiate the characters that you're using in your scenarios. Now, how do you get them to speak, or how do you get your text to speak? And it's really just in here. You just type the text of whatever you want them to say. So, hello, fellow association for talent development members, welcome to this webinar on Articulate 360. And we can just hit insert. After we have that typed in, hit insert, and it'll process it, and it will just add that voice to your slide, that wherever you processed it from, and you can preview it. Hit preview.
Hello, fellow Association for Talent Development members. Welcome to this webinar on Articulate 360.
And it just added it in like that. Now, you'll notice that on the timeline, it added it right where the playhead was, would happen to be at the beginning. So if you do that, like if we were just to play the entire timeline right now, we're going to hear a overlap. Let's see what that sounds like.
I know some of the enhancements that they made in the Storyline in terms of where things are started in relationship to the playhead has made it a lot. I forgot exactly what those enhancements were, but they make this working with the timeline a lot easier. Okay, let's go.
Oh yeah, it just played a little bit there, but you hear that it will play right on top of each other. So whenever you do that, you have to make sure that you go and adjust this to the proper place on the timeline that you want the audio to play. Particularly important if you are having multiple voices speak, because each voice, each thing that is stated is made as a separate file. I mean, you could put a big long text into the text to speech, and it'll put that all into one big long speech. But that's only one voice. You couldn't do two voices processed with this insert. So insert audio text to speech. Everything you put in there will be a single voice single audio track on there. So if you wanted to have two people speaking, you'd have to do one for one for the other, and then maybe back to the other, and then back and forth. So you have separate tracks for separate audio files for each voice. And then when that happens, you'll have to adjust it on the timeline here so that they appear in the proper order. Whatever somebody says appears or is heard at the right time with the proper amount of space in it. So that is something very important to note. Now you can also cut up a long speech if you wanted it. Let's say you had the text to speech, say it all in one go, and it put it all too close together. So for instance, on this one, let's just preview this one. We won't render it all out, just preview this one.
Hello, fellow Association for Talent Development members. Welcome to this webinar on Auriculae 360.
So that hello, welcome Association for Talent, that was a little too close together. I'd like to have a little bit of a breather, a pause between hello and Association for Talent Development members. So I can actually cut that up and make that little space. I don't have to re-record that. I can go and select, just right click on it, hit edit audio. And then this brings up the audio editor where you see this waveform monitor, this waveform. This is the peaks and valleys of how the voice is being spoken. If you're not familiar with how waveforms work. So when somebody says something loud, it goes higher. These little lines go higher. While it's soft or nothing at all, there's nothing there. Like right here, there's a pause. And so if we listen to this again.
Hello, fellow Association.
Hello, fellow. It was just, I wanted to have a little bit more of a breather there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the playhead right after hello. And I can tell that this is right after hello because it goes to a bit of silence there. I'm going to put the playhead right there. And I am going to, actually what I want to do is, before I do that, I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to copy this. There we go. So I copied it because we're gonna cut one and we're gonna trim the other so that they're both, so that the one of them has the hello and the other one has the fellow Association for Talent Development. So let's go back to edit the audio, and I'm gonna put the playhead right where we want to cut, and we are going to actually we can just silence. Or we can delete. Here, we just go all this and delete. That's all gone now. Save and close. And then on this one, edit audio. Take this portion. I'm going to take the playhead and kind of highlight that portion. Delete. Save and close. Now it is two separate audios that I can put further distance apart from each other. So if I want to have a really long pause between these two, I just leave a lot of space there. I don't think I want that much pause. So I'll just put it right there and put the playhead right at the beginning here and go ahead and hit play. See if that plays. Sometimes it takes a little long to render when you're playing off of the timeline here, but it will work.
Fellow Association for Talent Development members.
So we had a little bit of a pause there, but if I want to extend it out a little bit more, you can just move it out like that. So that's how you can edit and duplicate tracks and do everything you need on that one. You can even silence certain portions of it in the editing tool. So if it didn't come out exactly right, you can do some audio edits. You can, let's say, and this actually helps for not only the text to speech, but let's say you have like a voiceover done and you put the voiceover in there, your own voiceover in there, and you gave kind of a or you said something that wasn't right and you want to cut that out. You can do that all in here. You can just select the portion that you didn't want, hit silence, and it'll just remove that from there. And then it's also really handy. This is going a little bit away from text to speech, but it's just general audio recording. If you do have to record your own audio or somebody else doing audio, it's really helpful to see where things are happening in your voice. So, and that may be odd to say, but let's say you're doing a series of clips of audio sound bites, and you have your script in front of you, and you say the first line, and then you give a pause, and then you say the second line, you give a pause. You're recording this all at one time, but then you flub up, and you got to go back, and now you got to edit things. You don't want to re-record everything. What really helps, I'll show you. Let me grab this little tool that I have here. Right here, and I'm going to stop the share here just for a moment so you can see my full screen. This right here is a dog training tool that just clicks. You can use this when you're recording your audio to give a tonal notation that you'll see in that waveform of when that click happens, and that will help you separate when you need to cut something out or when you're doing a second take. It just makes it so easy when you're audio editing. Just like when you're saying your line and you flub, oh, that means you can see that click on the big line on your waveform monitor, and you know, okay, I can delete all of that. I don't have to spend time messing and listening to it. I know it's a bad take. So
could you also say take 1 or take 2 or take 3 or take 48? Or
you definitely can. I find this so much easier because sometimes you're just on a roll, and
right.
and it's just, oh, then you continue. Then you continue. So the take will sometimes take you out of it. I find this super simple to use. And yeah, so but take would work as well. However, take can look like on the waveform, when you say look like normal speech. This will always have the same look on that audio. In fact, let's go ahead and do a quick record using Articulate here, or Storyline, and you can see that in action. I'm not going to say, I just cancel this. I'm not going to save the changes we did to that because we silenced some things. So no. And let's go ahead and record mic. I hope this is going to work with me on Zoom. I've never recorded a audio in Articulate while in Zoom, but let's see. All right. And oops, did I hit the wrong button? Here we go. Nope, don't go. Audio, record microphone, and here we go. Starting in 2, 1. Hello and welcome to this seminar on Get Good with Articulate. Oh, I messed up. Wait. Welcome to this seminar on Get Good with Articulate. I am your host, Kevin Jorgensen, and I welcome you to this fun and adventurous journey we have into Storyline 360. Now let's see what that looks like on the editor. See if we can see that click. And fine. Hello and welcome to this seminar on Get Good with Articulate. Oh, I messed up. Wait. That right there, you'll notice is going to be the same every single time you click. You'll know that the click is going to be that. And each time you see that on your timeline, you'll know that's a point that you can cut.
And you could probably hold that closer to the microphone, and it would be a larger waveform.
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, when I'm on my other computer, I'm using this microphone. This is a shotgun microphone. Right now, I'm on my my PC that does not have this attached. But when I do audio recordings, I have it right up here like this and this right here, and it gets really visible. It is really obvious. So it's super helpful for doing that. And I'd recommend if you have a voiceover talent do this, or maybe a subject matter expert, get them to do that. It helps out so much because it keeps them on track as well. If they mess up, sometimes people that are not professional voiceovers, they will stop and have to, wait, I messed up. Let me try that again. And it just ends up delaying everything. When you just don't, hey, just click this if you mess up and start over. It makes it super easy. So.
And Kevin, this reminds me of the closed captions and the transcripts that you're able to add into Storyline now. And it seems as if you could kind of group these together. Once you copy the text that is supposed to go into the speech and the closed caption and the transcript, you can copy once and then paste 3 and do this in rapid succession. Would that be a good best practice? If you're
absolutely. And that one's going to be one. one of the things that I was going to talk about next on how you can quickly add that text to speech. So yeah, let's get back onto text to speech. How you can quickly add it, and what you can do is add it into whatever is going to be said into the notes section of to the notes section of each of the slides. This is exactly what's being said. In fact, let's go to a different slide. Here we go. We got this one that has a lot more text in it. So you can just add everything that you want the text to speech to say, and then go to that insert audio text to speech. And instead of typing it into here, just select your voice and hit copy from slide notes. And then boom, it immediately applies it in there. And you can say generate closed captioning right there. So it does it all in one go. You don't have to do it multiple times. You just say insert, it'll go in and insert the text to speech. It'll insert the closed captioning all straight from the slide notes that you probably already added from when you were designing. So
That is sweet. Because I think once you get it into the closed captioning, it's just a click and a drag to get it into the transcript as well. So you're kind of doing all three of them right now.
Yep. Now, I do want to point out a couple things to make your audio a little text to speech a little bit better. First off, don't trust it that it worked perfectly every single time. You listen to it every single time that you add it, because I've had very strange instances in which the text to speech did not say something correctly, did not give the right pause, particularly with abbreviations and acronyms or even numbers. It can fudge those up a little bit and not say things correctly. Sometimes you have to go through and have it written in here phonetically, so that the text to speech can fully say it out. If you need extra pause, you could do that trick we showed before, where you cut it and move it, or you can just give extra periods. Extra periods will give extra pauses. So like right here, upon completion of this training, you will be able to define emotional intelligence. You might want to add some pauses there, or even a return to move it to a different line. And that'll give different types of pauses. A period is usually a little bit longer pause. A return is a shorter pause. A comma is even a shorter pause. So you can do that. And also when it says emotional intelligence, EI here, when you have the emotional intelligence or whatever the word is, and then the abbreviated or initialization version of it, you may need to rework that. I've had it try to, if I didn't have these periods here next to E and I, it might try to say that as I instead of EI. So those are some things that you have to be listened for and make sure that it is working correctly and saying what you want it to say. And even sometimes you'll have to completely rewrite this because it's just not saying something correctly. You know, it sometimes has a tough time differentiating like homonyms or something that's, you know, read versus read. That it can mix up quite a bit. So you might have to spell read as REED and then read as RED when you're trying to talk about somebody reading a book versus read a book. So there's a few different tricks you might have to do depending on how or what you're trying to say. So but it does work pretty well once you get the hang of it. In fact, I just did a I write news articles for my organization on, let me see if I can bring one up here, which it just blew me away at how well, and it's getting better every single day, it seems. Every single day, Articulate is getting better with their text to speech. I put in a full, maybe it's like a 3-minute read news article or blog article on, I forget what it was. I think it was, actually, we'll see it here in just a moment. This is using Rise 360, but I used Storyline to create this voiceover. Bring it up here. And I really thought I was going to have to re-edit this and do a lot of changes to it, but no, it worked the very first time, and it just blew me away. So this is a LND newsletter I do for my organization, And I always, when I write the articles, I always like to include an audio or a video version of the article, so that because people don't read, we all know this in organizations. You go send out a newsletter that you want everybody to read. Nobody really reads it, even if it's short 2 to 3 minute reads. People just don't seem to read it. But people love to listen to things, and so what I did is I took this entire article all about our L&D portfolio, building a comprehensive L&D portfolio. And this entire article, all this text and everything, just copied it and pasted it into Articulate's our Storyline's text to speech, exported to create this audio file that we'll hear.
L&D teams play a crucial role in equipping employees with the skills and knowledge needed to drive success.
That's 3 minutes and 22 seconds long. It did it perfectly the first time. I was just blown away. I thought I was going to have to go change a bunch of things, but no, it worked the very first time. So it's getting much, much better. Every single day they have an update. They're improving the quality of the text to speech. Yes, Megan.
Quick question, and maybe this is just a preference question, but I've heard a little bit of conversation about, especially in Rise, linking out to YouTube videos that automatically allow you to turn captioning on and off, but from an external vendor standpoint. What do you think, aside from, I understand you get to build in a lot of the accuracy yourself on our end, is there any sort of positives or negatives from creating it inside versus, let's say, consistently using like a YouTube channel in order to generate that?
Personally, I try to avoid using videos in my training that are hosted in different places. I avoid that at all costs. In very select circumstances will I do that, because you can't always make. I'm always thinking about sustainability. If I send out an e-learning, I want to make sure that all the links in there are going to work. And I can't guarantee that when it comes to YouTube. That video could be taken down at any time. There could be also issues with people's different YouTube's, whatever they're watching on their YouTube channel may come up and have a commercial or something like that in my e-learning. I'm like, or say, hey, you might like this video. And what if somebody was like watching something that wasn't really professional and they were doing this e-learning in a professional setting, and suddenly they get these recommendations in their e-learning for something that may be a little weird, a little bit awkward. But moreover, it's the linkage that I'm concerned about whenever linking a YouTube video in an e-learning and using that. So what I do is I download the YouTube video, make it an MP4, and insert that as a multimedia one. Now, when it comes to the closed captioning on that, because that is something you would have to create yourself then, that actually I haven't worked too much with, but that would be a concern with that if you needed to add that closed caption, which you could go into wherever you got that YouTube, that location, that YouTube video, and grab the closed captioning text in there, and then it's ready to go. And there are some other tools out there that'll do speech to text. So instead of text to speech to text, if it isn't in the YouTube video. So there are a few tools out there, but I just recommend, grabbing it, taking it off of YouTube, putting it into your e-learning, and using the resources in YouTube to make your e-learning the more efficient.
Would you consider? Yeah, go ahead, Greg. Again.
Oh, no, thank you. Just a thank you.
Kevin, would you consider linking to a video that you have on your own website or behind your firewall or on the corporate website? That way you could control it, and your storyline file wouldn't be quite as large.
Use a private YouTube channel. So that's kind of why I was asking about that.
Yeah, I worked with an organization that had a Vimeo channel. I think it's Vimeo. So everything on there was private. They controlled it all. And it's one of the things that it's you weigh the risk. You weigh the risk. Yes, it is a controlled private network that you don't have to worry about ads popping up or anything like that. Great. But I like to keep things as self-contained as possible, no matter what. Just for sustainability, because who knows, 5 years down the line, this e-learning is still being used, but maybe the company moved over to a new channel. Maybe there was a rebranding, and maybe there's the things that broke that content. And so it's just a risk that you do. I try to avoid it, but if I can't download the video, I'm not given access to it, then yeah, I'll have to link to it. And oftentimes, even when I do download the video and insert it into my e-learning, I'll credit where it came from, even provide a URL there for somebody to go to, just so it's properly credited. But as for maintaining the e-learning, I like to keep it there. So it really depends on what kind of risk are you and your organization willing to assume when it comes to where the content is. I'll let you know that everything you see in this article, in this newsletter, I put these videos in here myself, and these are in
this
Rise
article,
360.
we delve into the
These are all in Rise 360, so I don't have to worry too much about that. There are MP4s that are just added to it. But good question. Always a concern. So yeah, that was a thing I want to mention about the text to speech is getting really good in Storyline. So you still know that you should listen to everything, but especially when it comes to industry jargon terms, or something that it may be a little bit unfamiliar, and you may have to do that phonetic spelling. But it works out pretty well. You don't have to spend too much time messing with it. So yeah. But let me see here. What else did I want to show you about that? Any other questions about how to incorporate those audios into your voiceover? See, it just comes in here as a little audio speaker thing there. If you can, this is just a regular icon. So I think you can move it around. So if you want to have it visible on screen, you can. I like to have it off to the side because I don't want people messing with it. So I keep it off to the side, and naturally it puts it off to that side. In fact, if you do have multiple in here, they'll just stack on here and go all the way up to the top, depending on how many different audio tracks you have. And of course, naming them, like this one I just have named audio. But it may be worthwhile to rename this if you have multiple. It's the only thing about assets on timelines and Storyline. You want to name things on your track, so if something's not working right, you can move it around. I've had times where I'm moving things around on the timeline, not realizing I'm moving the wrong thing because it's just named audio 1, audio 2, audio 3. But if I had it named, narrator, then I would know that's the narrator, or even narrator 1, because there might be multiple narrations on here. So narrator 1, customer 1, customer 2, representative 1, representative 2 for each voiceover that's on that particular slide. Or even you could name it as per the slide number. This is slide 1.3, so this would be narrator 1.3.1, however you want to do it. I don't necessarily recommend doing that, because if you do move your slides around, it's going to change everything. But having a unique name to it could help you out a lot, but that's really up to you.
Meaningful names on all objects are a really good idea.
Yes. I wanted to see if I had a one that was. Oh yes, I do. It's in the quiz questions here. Scenario. So here is an instance in which I've got two audio sound bites in here. And let's see. Actually, this one is two audio sound bites. So they stacked right on top of each other. We can preview them to hear what they say.
To complete this training, you must choose the correct response for each of the following scenario questions to create a positive customer service.
And then this one, I think this might be
Click begin to start.
Yeah. So, and that's an interesting thing. I had click begin to start in that voice. I used the same voiceover, same narrator for a lot of my training for this particular client. So you end up if you have those common sayings, click begin to start. You might use that several times throughout various e-learnings. So you might as well just save that and copy it over, so you don't have to re-record it each time if it works. I did have one on here. Let me see if I can find it. That was an interaction. I think this is one. Not necessarily an interaction, but here is one in which I added audio to the different layers. So you can have different layers have audio in them. So let me go over to the already created e-learning on this one. And we'll go over to empathy examples. Here we go.
Click each call center agent to reveal an example of an empathy statement.
So I can click on this one.
I understand how frustrating that must have been. I would feel the same way if that happened to me.
I'm sorry you are having this problem.
I appreciate your patience in this matter.
So you see that it used different voices for each of the characters, and I try to name, even though you may be using like this character's name might be Derek, and you might be using the voice Matt with him, but you try to maintain that consistency. I had one of my developers kept switching up voices for the same character. They'd see the same character on the screen, but then start using different voices. So I'm like, hey, that's not the same voice, or the narrator's voice would change, and I'm like, oh no, try to keep them all the same. So it is important to do that when just maintain that consistency. We call that in Hollywood, we call that continuity. Maintain continuity in your e-learning. Make sure everybody's the same. All right. So now you can also export these audio files. You can export these audio files as an MP3. So just export the audio and it will just export as a MP3. You can name it whatever you like, and then import that into other projects or even into your Rise 360 projects. That's exactly what I did for this newsletter. I just went and had Rise or Articulate create the where is it? Here we go. Create the full audio, and I just imported it straight in here as a multimedia file. So it made it real simple. In fact, here we can go here. I don't want to change this at all because this is live right now. The nice thing about Rise 360, I don't know if you know this or not, you can share right here. Share this link out. In fact, I'll share this with everybody here if you want to learn, see this newsletter that we put together. Here we go. And so you can, so that's how I share it with an organization, because we don't have currently, the organization I work for is a global organization with several different LMSs depending on what part of the company you're at, and we didn't have a centralized one that everybody could use. So I'm just like, all right, we'll just keep it in Articulate, and here's the share link for it. Everybody can use it that way. There we go. So yeah, you can go in and go to edit here. And this is just I can add another one here. Multimedia, select audio, add the audio, and it puts a temporary one in there. Just go here, edit, upload, select that audio, and now you have that audio in wherever you put it in your Articulate or your Rise project. So that's how you can incorporate those in there. I'm going to delete this because I don't want anybody to be thinking that's part of this. So that's how you can do that. Now, I do know, before we move on to other voices that are possible outside of Storyline, does anybody have any other questions about creating voiceovers, doing the text-to-speech in Storyline, and how to get those out and edit them, or anything when it comes to audio and text-to-speech?
Well, somewhat of a segue, but I was thinking about the acceptability of artificial voices. They've gotten a lot better, but you can still tell. And I'm thinking that people who grew up, yet younger people, may associate a artificial voice with more credibility. They may actually give more credibility to an artificial voice than they would to an actual person, because they're so used to hearing artificial voices.
Yeah, this is a great question, and it's one that's hotly debated in the IND community. Is should you use a real voice actor versus an automated? Even it doesn't matter how good it is, because there is that uncanny valley aspect of automated speeches. The closer it gets to a person, the more it sounds a little weird, and it can be a little distracting to the learning. But you're right. A lot of the younger generation, the digital natives, we're probably all digital immigrants, but we came into this computer world. But there's like people these days that are very, very young, and they've just always grown up with this, and it's actually preferred. It's actually preferred by them, and or they don't care. They don't care if they want the content. They can focus on the content. So it really depends on your audience. Who is the audience of your e-learning? If they are digital immigrants, people, if your audience is older generation, you may want to get that voiceover talent and incorporate that into your e-learning. Well, maybe the digital natives are something you can use the standard for. In any case, I highly recommend using the text-to-speech option for your prototypes and your reviews. Until you have a finalized script, because that it will take you so long, depending on your relationship with the voiceover artist, it will take you so long to get to your production cycle, your development cycle, if you constantly have to get somebody to come in and do re-record audio. And it be the same way. I mean, voiceover artists, they are professionals, but they do sometimes have sore throats. Sometimes they're the climate can change. The audio, whatever they're recording may not be perfect every single time. So I think it's more distracting if you have different even if it's the same voiceover artist, it sounds different for whatever reason. I don't know if you've ever listened to an e-learning in which it was recorded obviously at a different time using different equipment, and it's just like, whoa, that didn't sound like what was heard before. Very distracting. So that is a concern. But while in text to speech, it's always the same. It's always the same. You don't have to worry about it changing too much. Now, I won't say that's always going to be true. With artificial intelligence, text to speech, there is some variance that is possible, even if you have it say the same thing. I've been doing a lot of research in AI generative tools, and right now it seems pretty good, but there is something called temperance in artificial intelligence generated content. It is basically a random seeding that will differentiate a prompt from one time to another. If you put the exact same prompt in, a prompt being what you want it to say or what you want it to do, the AI to generate some type of content, it'll provide sometimes a random seeding, a random number that will vary whatever the output is. So you could have something different depending on if you have those controls in AI. So something to look out for in the future if you start getting into AI generative voiceover, which could overall sound much more human, but possibly less consistent. But right now, this is a nice middle point where it sounds pretty good and it's consistent. So you can rely on it much better. So any other yes. So and just to put that a little bit, I don't know if you use ChatGPT, you know how you can type in a question multiple times and it could possibly yield different results. That's basically what I'm talking about when it comes to AI generative. Now, one thing I wanted to let you know, if you don't have Storyline and or you have Storyline 3, but you still want to do text to speech, and in fact, you want to really grab some people's attention, your stakeholders' attention, your learners' attention. How about we have a celebrity do our voiceover? How would you like to have somebody like Morgan Freeman do your voiceover on your e-learning? That is currently possible right now. And this is a tool that I will let you all know about. It is free. I'm all about the poor instructional designer workshop style work here. There's a site called Fake You. And this is a free text. You can sign up and pay for it and get additional access, but this is a free text-to-speech resource that has user-generated voices of celebrities and cartoon characters and all sorts of stuff. So if we hit text-to-speech here, we can then choose a there's Walter White from Breaking Bad. I did one with him recently. But let's do Morgan Freeman. I know he's in there. I also like Alan Rickman is in here. I did a great one with Alan Rickman not too long ago. Oh, it's kind of freezing up on me.
Oh my God, this looks like a full employment for intellectual property lawyers.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a lot of questions I'm getting when it comes to AI generative content. That's what I've been exploring quite a bit these past few months. AI generated images. In fact, if you go to my website, kevinstormjorgensen.com, I'll let you know that 90% of the images you see on my website are AI generated, even pictures of me. They were AI generated. I went ahead and trained an AI with my face to create more pictures of me based on prompts that I give it. And that's why you see me looking mean. I'm really not that mean. That's just AI, how AI sees me. But Morgan, that seems free. There we go. Morgan Freeman. There we go. And we can have Morgan Freeman say anything we want for us. So how about him say, welcome. All right. So I have welcome ATD members. I'm very glad you're able to join us this evening. I'll hit speak. And depending on the workload that is currently happening on this site, it could take anywhere between 15 seconds to 2 to 3 minutes to generate a voice over audio file of this. Typically I've been having to go pretty quick. Now the voiceovers are reserved to only be about 12 to 15 seconds long. So if you have a long speech, you'll have to break it up into smaller bite-sized portions and then edit them together. But here, let's see what this sounds like.
Welcome, ATD members. I'm very glad you are able to join us this evening.
That's all right. It looks like you messed up the ATD. Let me just change that up to just be full associate. This is why I don't like using acronyms or abbreviations. I can spell correctly.
I think I could tell, but it's pretty. I could also tell who it was supposed to be.
You know, a really good one is oh gosh, what's his name? He used to be a CNN Anderson Cooper. There's an Anderson Cooper's voice on here, and it's phenomenal. You couldn't even tell it's different. I just like using Morgan Freeman because he really does. Actually, let's do Anderson Cooper. And it's stalling out a little bit. There we go. Anderson Cooper. Let's do version 2.0. Let's see what Morgan Freeman sounds like here.
Welcome, Association for Talent Development members. I'm very glad you are able to join us this evening.
Not too bad, not perfect. It wouldn't. I don't think it would pass any kind of authentications or anything like that. But some of these are fantastic, and I think it does really grab attention if you're able to use some celebrity's voice. Even if you don't, even if they don't recognize a celebrity, they subconsciously will. So here's Anderson Cooper.
Welcome, Association for Talent Development members. I'm very glad you are able to join us this evening.
And you can just download that. Open new link here. And download the file.
Welcome, Association for Talent Development members. And
here it is on my computer. Now I can go and insert that into my storyline or Rise or whatever I want, because it is now a WAV file on my computer.
I think the quality of the storyline, the articulate text-to-speech was actually better than what we just heard from the fake you.
Yeah, well, one nice thing about the storyline one is that it is not trying to replicate another person. It's its own voice, and there's a lot of work on those voices, so it's going to be really, and it's gotten much better. When I first started using text-to-speech and storyline, it was rough. Now, like, my stakeholders are like, "Oh, I can tell that sounds too robotic." Now they can't tell. Sometimes they're just, even maybe they're used to it, but to me, when I look back on some of the older stuff, I'm like, yeah, it does sound a little tinny, a little robotic. Now it sounds so much more fluid. So it's getting better every day. But yeah, the fun having the celebrities. I think though that the one in storyline is, like, depending on which one you choose, is a little better.
And as you said earlier, Articulate is just so good at continually improving their product.
Yes. Yeah, that is something. And speaking of which, I know we only have a few minutes left, but I wanted to show you all real quick. Let's see if I can bring it up.
Yeah, we have a whole other topic here to get into.
Yeah, we haven't even dived into this one on how to use replay. And what I'll do is I'm gonna I'll show you another a replay video that I created while that's loading up. Replay takes a few moments, and replay is available in your like here is if you have Articulate 360, it is available right here. Just you install that one and you can just open it up from there. And let's see, where is it? Oh, I'm looking in the wrong place. Should be looking in review.
You've been busy, Kevin, or somebody's been busy.
I've got a team and we're always sharing stuff with each other. But yeah, I got a lot of content on here. Plus, actually, my students, I just finished up the semester on instructional design, my instructional design course at SDSU. And I had all my students do a project. Here it is. Projects that they would share with me in on Rise and Review 360. So yeah, that I got those on there as well. But here is there's replay.
Welcome to this HCL Tech new higher micro learning module.
So this is a video.
By the end of this training, you will
created
be able to
using
navigate to
a variety of
through
tools.
myhcl.com and submit a completed. Time will load.
So I did screen captures of the software at work here.
Calendar.
This is on time, how to enter times.
Set for the current week.
I'm gonna turn this down so I'm not having to speak over it. And I have these call outs you put on here. There's a lot of standard stuff you think that Camtasia handles really well, but it is all in video form here that Storyline can't do. It helps out on, but it's really difficult. I've tried editing multiple clips together in Storyline and exporting it's difficult. It's really difficult. And that's what Replay is for. Replay allows you to have these put videos on here and graphics on this timeline and edit them, cut them, do fades, add voices, put text, you can put some lower thirds graphics on it and really make your videos come to life. You can even, it does screen recording and camera recording. So if you wanted to have you on top of whatever you're showing, you can do that here. And of course you heard on that video, in fact, all of this audio, these green tracks right here is all text to speech that was generated in Storyline and then imported into here. So I got my script. Here was my script that I wrote for as script and the whole storyboard I did for this video. So here's the script. I just went and copied and pasted each of these sections into Storyline, the text to speech, and just created those files, exported them. So I went, insert. Actually, I think I used I didn't want to put it into here. So here's a blank. This comes over here. I have multiple screens. Sometimes it's a little difficult for them to travel over. There we go. So insert audio. Actually, gotta get into an actual slide. Audio, text to speech. I grabbed this, just copied it, pasted it in here, selected my voice. Let's just use Joanna. Insert. It created the audio file, exported it to that audio file, and then imported it into Replay, put it on the timeline in its appropriate place. And you can batch do that. So I just went through it. You don't have to do it in that order. I just went through and had put all the voiceovers in, exported them all out at the same time, and then had all those files and then brought them all in at one time. So you don't have to, one, put it on the timeline, two, put it on the timeline, just do all the audios together. And then these graphics I created in PowerPoint. These are all the graphics I created in PowerPoint and just exported them as PNGs, put them into Replay on the timeline here. This is just a PNG file. Let me put there we go. That's a PNG file. And just put that on the timeline. Each of them on here, linked it up with when the audio, the text to speech audio goes. And made the video like that. See how I cut it up to put a little bit of space because I wanted some pause there. Didn't want to have it be nonstop speaking like I do right now in my presentations. So I had a few pauses to give that little rest of cognitive load, and then went on down the line. And so that can all be done here in Replay. So that's a little bit of a Replay in a nutshell. I know we didn't have enough time to really dive deep into it, but this is exportable, publishable, just like Storyline. You can publish it to Review 360 or as a video file. And when you publish it as to Review 360, I think we saw it was just you can just send it off for review, and people can put their comments in. The nice thing is, in Review 360, it'll timestamp the comment. So at 1 minute and 51 seconds in the video, this is what this stakeholder subject matter expert said. So it makes it super easy as a developer, as a designer, to go back and make those changes.
And speaking of time, we are out of it, or we are at least to 6:30. If you happen to have a personal life, feel free to leave us at this moment. I'd be happy to stay online here to answer any questions if people want to talk with Kevin a bit more.
Picture before anybody leaves.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I have to go to the gallery here. Oh, we are a nice looking group here. Let me click on Snagit. Snagit is click capture here. Okay, 1, 2. There we go.
I put in the chat a link to my LD Tech open office hours through Workrooms. I do a lot of meetings in the metaverse. This is Horizon Workrooms. You as a guest, if you don't have a VR headset, do a lot of work in VR. But we can meet up in VR or not in VR, however you like, by using that link. And I have an open office hour every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. using that link. And if you have further questions, it's open. You can just come in, ask me questions. We can work on stuff. Yeah, feel free. You can also access that on my website or make a consultation with me there. But yeah, if you want to follow up with me, I'm happy to do it.
So don't forget to save the chat. The little ellipsis down at the bottom of the chat window will allow you to save the chat forever and ever. Have good reference stuff. Okay, well, thank you very much, Kevin. That was enlightening. I feel smarter than I was. And just a quick mention here, we're taking the summer off. There are no workshops in July or August, but we're coming back in September. Joe Waddington is going to be talking about audio. People will accept a poor video more than they will accept a poor audio. So he's going to be talking about Audacity and recording in Audacity, bringing it into a Storyline, and how the two can play together. So any other comments?
Hey, John?
Yes.
I see that you record these sessions. Where would the past sessions be available for us to view?
At the moment, you need to contact me, and I would be very happy to provide you links. But I'm working with the board of directors at the chapter, trying to get a page that's available only to members, so that they can see any of the audios, any of the video recordings that we have done. But until then, anytime, just shoot me an email and I will send you links to the whole thing. Kevin was mentioning Vimeo and YouTube. I have some of them on both, and I think we have over a dozen of these things now. So I'd be absolutely delighted to share them. Thank you all. Special thanks to Kevin. You did a great job here. And hope to see you all in September. We'll talk about audio.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Bye. Thank you.